TikTok time to rock, and Mosab's got a. What the heck is wrong with you? I figured I would just read a comment at the beginning and looked like you were going into a totally sick. I was like, oh, someone posted TikTok. Let me just go ahead and read this. Wrong. Bad idea. Hey, guys, we just had one of the rare instances where Dawood was responsible for the delay. I was trying to get this video.
Oh, you see?
Was trying to get this video pulled up and it would not transfer. I had it on my laptop and I had to transfer it over to my desktop and it would not transfer. So I had to shut things down and so on. And then it took forever to load. Anyway, how's everyone doing? Hey, AP, you heard of this? You heard of this Mosab Hassan Yousef guy? Hey, why don't you tell everyone about your interview that we've all been waiting for like 16 years for you to post?
Actually, it wasn't 16 years. It was only several weeks. Just want to correct that quickly. But yes, I am publishing it tomorrow, inshallah. Have finalized it and we'll publish it tomorrow. We'll also set it to premiere tomorrow.
Ooh,
and we'll share it, and everyone can then go on it and set a reminder and watch it when it goes live.
Wait, so what time you thinking? You talking like noonish, noon, something like that?
Something like that.
All right, so AP interviewed Mosab Hassan Yousef, son of Hamas, had it professionally recorded. And so the quality will be good as far as the video is concerned. The question is whether the content will be good based on what AP is asking.
Is that a joke?
No, I'm just saying.
Is that a joke?
You should do a fun.
Of course it will be good.
You should be a fun. Hey, you know, to be an awesome interview, you could probably get him to play along. You just ask him questions, but it's all based on Palestinian children's television. But every question is like, you think it's real. Like, tell us how you reacted when Farfour was killed. And here, we'll play the footage. I can't watch it. You play the footage, and then get Mosab's reaction to that. That would actually be interesting. Like, hey, what were you watching when you were a kid, and were you watching this stuff? And
that would be funny.
And then you could do like super bad interviews, like, hey, remember when you wrote your book, Son of Hamas?
I did actually have him react to an episode of that kids show, but not of Farfour, but an episode where they're talking about, what do you want to become when you're big? Oh, I want to be a police officer. Or what do you want to do as a police officer? I want to shoot all the Jews. All of them? Yeah, all of them. All of the Jews. Because that's what my uncle does, and I want to do that too. And the big guy goes, that's amazing. Shooting Jews is the best thing, and so on. I showed this to Mosab, and of course he wasn't surprised at all. But had his reaction on camera. That is pretty good.
Hey, are you going to post some of those as separate videos? That's good. That's good. We will.
Yes.
Because some of those we'll definitely want to check out as separate videos. A shout out to Nisanatic for gifting 10 Apologetics Roadshow memberships. All right, guys. So we're going to go through. We already went through some of this on AP's channel, but we only had an audio from that someone was recording on his phone, and they posted on YouTube when the Oxford Union didn't post the actual footage. So some of the audio was fine. Some of it wasn't very good. But now we're going to have the official audio of the event, and we're going to see what they edited. And I was wondering, because I had my theory about why they were delaying the release, and based on the footage, that was everyone who concluded that they were delaying the release to cover up what was revealed when Mosab polled the audience. You were all correct. We were all correct.
Oh, no.
We assumed that when Mosab polled the audience to ask them, in effect, how many of them support attacks against Israeli civilians, and it was the vast majority of the audience, we were assuming that You wanted to edit the footage so that you can't see the audience, so that even though he's saying what the results are, you can't actually tell. You can't actually point to people in the audience and say, this person actually supports attacks against civilians. So it turns out that's actually what they were doing. So we're going to go ahead and check that out. We'll take these first couple of super chats and then we will jump into it. What's up?
It's good that they put an effort into protecting people who have made statements that could be considered support for terrorism. So.
Yeah, guys, think about this. I mean, these are people who were basically admitting that they support attacks against Israeli civilians, men, women, and children. They admitted it. And it was on video that they admitted it, that the vast majority of the Oxford Union admitted it. And what did they do? They delayed the release for over a week so that they could carefully edit it and figure out what to do and what camera angle to go with and how to crop it and so on, so that you can't see any of the people. And therefore, you're not in a position to say, oh, this person supports. So these people admitted it. They admitted it on camera, but Oxford Union does not want anyone to know that these people admitted it.
It's because they're scared of Mossad.
Isn't that interesting? You're like, yes, we support it. And Oxford Union's like, no. We have to protect you. We have to protect you. We don't want people to know that you support terrorist attacks against Israeli civilians. We don't want people to know that. You might get in trouble for being a person who supports terrorist attacks against Israeli civilian men, women, and children. We want to protect you. We're the Oxford Union. We want to protect you. Bunch of scumbags, man.
Powerful.
Let's see. Oxford and AP are hiding for not posting interview. Oh, yeah. I'm sitting here blasting away at the Oxford Union for not posting their interview. Isn't that funny? I'm sitting here blasting away at Oxford Union for not posting what Mosab said, and yet you've been delaying longer than they have posting what Mosab said.
It's because I'm in no rush.
But you're Russian. No need to apologize, David. It's always the Turks' fault. That's true. It would have been funny if it was totally my fault. And it kind of wasn't my fault in the sense that it's technology, but I could have avoided that by coming in early and making sure it was on there. I did not know it was going to have a problem this time. I was going to have to shut everything down and restart it.
David would admit it's his fault. How can you trust anything he says?
Yeah. Normally I'm fine if like 5 or 10 minutes ahead of time I transfer whatever video I want to watch and stuff like this, but this time, not so much. Nice job on publishing it tomorrow, you snoozy man figure. I'm back. Oh, and AP, did you get my message on X? This is from Gabe. Did you get his message, yes or no?
Probably did, yeah.
Okay, that's good. And Oxford students are sick, Apple Polisher for Islamists. They are sick, man. I mean, this is some crazy evil stuff. Some crazy evil stuff going on here. And we have Gabe again saying AP is delaying because he likes live streaming. Saying you're delaying the release of your video because you like live streaming. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and check out some of this video. Again, we heard a bit of this already. Now we get to see Mosab and see what our friends at the Oxford Union edited. Here we go.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Mosab.
Good evening.
My name is Mosab Hassan Yousef, for those who don't know me, but I think most of you know who I am.
Order. Please allow the speaker to make a speech in silence. Please show courtesy to the speaker.
I couldn't make it out there. What do they call? They called him scumbag or something like that?
They called him, somebody shouted sharmut, which means... the male form for a prostitute. That's basically what somebody shouted, and then others started cheering for it. So that's the introduction.
And isn't that interesting? That kind of shows you what you're working with. So this is a guy whose dad founded a terrorist organization. He was raised in a terrorist organization. He went to prison for being part of that terrorist organization. He decided that that terrorist organization is wrong, And so he switched sides and started working to undermine that terrorist organization. And that makes him evil. That makes him evil. He's, according to the people at the Oxford Union, shame on you, Mosab. You should have stayed with your terrorist organization and been a good jihadi.
You traitor! You betrayed our honorable, wonderful Islamic terrorist organization. How dare you? You're clearly a traitor. I mean, how is this even acceptable in a Western society to set that as the norm? You're supposed to be loyal to a terrorist organization.
Yeah, and if you betray that terrorist organization and say, you know, if you actually think for yourself and say, I don't support this. I don't support what they want to do. And you start working against them, you're a prostitute, and people think it's hilarious to call you one. At the Oxford Union. Interesting.
I am sentenced by my father to death. He made my blood allowed.
Halal.
Why? Because I reported on suicide bombing attacks that targeted civilians indiscriminately. This is my crime.
Powerful.
And guess what? It is not a secret that you discovered. It was my initiative that I revealed myself to public of what I did, because I am not ashamed of saving human lives. You should be ashamed for taking the side of terrorists.
Yeah, and think about this, because these actually tie together. He's saying, hey, I did what? I went against the terrorist organization I was raised in to save the lives of civilians who were going to be targeted indiscriminately. They were plotting attacks against civilians. I sought to undermine these attacks, and they condemn him for that. He's the bad guy. According to the Oxford Union, he's the bad guy. But think about this. What's that mean? If he's the bad guy for doing what? For undermining a terrorist attack against civilians. That's what he was doing. That's when he was saying, I can't support this. I can't support this. I have to get away from this stuff. And I have to actually sabotage what they're doing. They're plotting to attack civilians. I have to do something about this. And this makes him the bad guy, according to the Oxford Union. Later, he's going to poll them, how many of them actually support terrorist attacks against Israeli civilians. It's going to be the overwhelming majority. But notice that's two different ways these people are confirming that they support terrorist attacks against civilians, Israeli civilians. Why is that important? Because their main complaint against Israel is, oh, look, Israel's killing civilians. Israel's killing civilians. Israel's not targeting civilians. These guys are, the Oxford Union openly admits that they support terrorist attacks against Israeli civilians. They support targeting them. This is what's going on in the Oxford Union.
Also, I am not going to apologize for reporting Hamas and for reporting terrorists. And know that we will fight anyone who takes the side of terrorists. Hamas is a terrorist organization in the UK, in the United States, in the European Union. And it's not up to you to decide. Sit down. Now listen, only Sheikh Hassan Yousef has the authority and the power to pull the trigger.
That's his father.
Not you, not him, not her. Only Sheikh Hassan Yousef, if he has the courage to point the gun at his oldest son and pull the trigger. Anyone else who tried to do that will be dealt with differently. Now,
What was he saying there? Was he saying that only his dad has the authority in Hamas to do that, and that if anyone else did it, they would be punished for taking out the son of a terrorist leader? Or was he saying something else?
I'm not entirely sure what he was implying there, but that's what it's. You could interpret it that way.
I could interpret it multiple ways. Yeah.
Yeah, you could interpret it in different ways, but I guess that comes a little bit close to what he may have been indicating there.
many of you sitting here want to teach me a lesson about morality. If you knew about October 7 attacks, any of you, raise your hands. If you had information about Hamas attack on October 7, would you report it to the authorities? If you do, raise your hand. Sit down. Less than 5% in this room raise.
Look at this, guys. We're going to play this again. Look at the camera angle here. You see this camera angle, AP?
Yeah.
This sort of close in, only him and the guy there, and you can see a couple of people who are in the shot. Hey, they have multiple camera angles here. Let's see how many times you see this camera angle, because they keep switching camera angles, everyone. How many times do you see this camera angle, sort of zoomed in on him from straight ahead, everyone else cropped out, the audience cropped out. Let's go back, check the camera angles. So look at the camera angles. You have this wide shot, right? See this wide shot?
Yeah.
That's one of the main shots. They always have this wide shot here, and you can see the president or whoever he is right in the middle. You got Mosab there, and you got a good number of people in the audience. And then they have this kind of close-up shot at an angle from the left, and then you got this wide shot again, and then you've got this close-up again, and then when they go to him asking the question, we get this close-up version. So do they have this? Do they have another camera angle here where they have this close-up from the front shot of him? Let's go. Let's see if we see this anymore. Okay, we got the close-up from the left. We've got the wide shot. Close-up from the left. Wide shot. Wide shot, wide shot, wide shot, wide shot. Long, close-up from the left. Wide shot. Close-up from the left.
Eyes wide shut.
And then it cuts to the wide shot. So guys, they have two camera angles. They have two camera angles here. Got that, everyone? They have two camera angles. What is this? What is this?
Sit down.
This is why they delayed releasing the video, ladies and gentlemen.
Sit down.
They took their wide camera angle and zoomed and cropped everything out of it. Lowered the resolution and so on, but they did that to crop out the entire audience. That's why there was a delay. They probably had it originally, and someone said we have to crop out the audience, and that took extra time. So you see this, guys? This close-up was not some other camera angle. It's the wide shot. They just cropped out of the audience, and they cropped out the audience because he specifically asked people to show their hands, if they would have reported, if they had information about the October 7th attack, before the October 7th attacks. In other words, you hear the plot. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to go, we're going to slaughter them, we're going to kill them all, we're going to kill them. If you heard about that ahead of time, would you have reported it so that you could stop that attack against civilian men, women, and children? If they had posted the wide shot, and by the way, people should be requesting the wide shot. At least the authorities should be requesting the wide shot. There should be all sorts of requests saying, we want to see this wide shot. We want to know how many. I would like to know how many of these people. I would like to know which ones actually support terrorist attacks against Israeli civilians. That's important to know. It's important to know. Not to go and like put them in jail or something like that. To know that they support this and to raise this as a question when they say, oh, but the IDF, they blew up this building and civilians were killed. Yeah, after they dropped leaflets, after they called the building, after they warned everyone to get out, yeah, then the civilians who refused to leave, the civilians died. Sad. But you guys don't get to raise that as an objection anymore because you guys openly admit 90-some% of you, you're talking 95% of you actually support terrorist attacks against Israeli civilians. So your objection is not keep the civilians out of this. Your objection is not, but what about the children? You don't believe what you're saying. You just hate Jews. That's your real position. Your real position is that you hate Jews and you're using complaints about civilians and so on and children and women as part of an agenda, even though you don't really believe what you're saying, because you actually support targeting civilian men, women, and children. You do. And so I would actually like to know which of these people admitted when asked that they would not report. They would not report their information about an attack against civilians so that it would go forward and not be interrupted. In other words, if you could stop the October 7th attacks before it happened, would you? Over 95% of people said no, we would not stop it. So that's it. Anyway, let's go back
Well,
to
these are usually people who put masks on their heads when they go outside to do their protests.
Yeah, when they go to their protests and they all wear masks.
They have to hide themselves. So it's
cowards.
fully understandable that the Oxford Union here cropped out the audience. That's why they withheld it. It makes sense.
Awful, awful, awful. But let's go ahead and watch that a little bit again. I just wanted people to pay attention to the one and only time they use this close-up cropped camera angle to protect the audience after the audience admitted that they support the October 7th attacks and would not stop them if they had the opportunity.
Children.
They do not care. They do not care about the children. You are not fit to be parents because you support the killing of the children. That's true.
If he has the courage to point the gun at his oldest son and pull the trigger. Anyone else who tried to do that will be dealt with differently. Now, how many of you
Here we go.
sitting here want to teach me a lesson about morality? If you knew about October 7 attacks, any of you, raise your hands. If you had information about Hamas attack on October 7, would you report it to the authorities? If you do, raise your hand. Sit down.
Hey, by the way, AP, hey, that dude who's sitting at the table there, is that the president guy who like became one of the speakers? Is that the guy?
I'm not sure. I think it's the guy behind him, actually.
Okay. Because this guy's sitting at the table. Does anyone know? Does anyone know that? I mean, I guess I could click on the presentations real quick and see.
I think it's the guy behind him.
You think the guy behind him is the one who spoke? I'm just gonna look real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Going to go to the Oxford Union and see if that guy, because that guy gave a little half-hearted sort of slight raising of the bottle, so that he could actually say that. This is actually funny. Let's see. Let me see the speakers. No, he's one of the speakers, man. Yeah, that's the head or president or whatever. That's Ibrahim Osman Muwafi.
I don't know if that's him. They all look the same. And
what the heck is wrong with you?
What?
Hang on. Let's see who the guy. Let me go to the wide shot. Oh no, you're right. They do look the same.
The guy behind him. I think that is him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think AP may be right. And
see, they all look the same. I told you.
But look at this. Mosab asked the question. Watch the dude at the table. When Mosab asks, he gives a slight. He goes like this. He goes. When Mosab says, "Raise your hand," and he goes kind of. He does that with like his water bottle or something. Let me see what he did.
Sitting here want to teach me a lesson about morality. If you knew about October 7 attacks, any of you, raise your hands.
Let's see.
You had information about Hamas attack on October 7, would you report it to the authorities? If you do, raise your hand.
See, he kind of raises his water bottle slightly. You see it? So he's not like, but he's kind of like, I don't know. Let me see what the rest of the crowd is doing. He raises his bottle like 3 inches so that if someone says, "What? Why didn't you say you would report it?" He's like, "I did. Look, I raised my bottle." And then if someone's like, "What? How could you support Mosab, Hassan, Yousef?" He's like, "What are you talking about? I just got a little thirsty and I was about to take a drink. And then I realized, someone might think I'm raising my hand. So I didn't raise it all the way up."
Isn't one of the speakers for the opposing side under investigation now?
Yeah, that's what's his name, Mika, something like that. But yeah, one of the speakers, they haven't. So now they've released everything except one of the speakers' presentations, and they did not release that because that guy's actually going to be under investigation. He called the jihadis of the October 7th massacre, he called them heroes. He said that was not terror, that was not terrorism, that was heroism. So they're heroes, according to him. And now he's in trouble because that's actually illegal. You cannot say that terrorists carrying out a terrorist attack are heroes, apparently. Even though you let Ali Dawa go around saying he wants to execute all the apostates and so on. So I don't know why they draw the line there. But that's where they drew the line. Okay, so now we know the guy between the two boxes is somewhat undecided. But most of the audience would not raise their hand. He said less than 5%. Less than 5% would have stopped the October 7th massacre. By the way, I pointed this out before, but this is very important. People aren't just aware of what happened on October 7th. They're aware of the repercussions that followed that. And so when they're asked, hey, if you had information and you knew about the attack that was about to take place, would you stop it? Over 95% said no, they would not stop the attack. What does that mean? Because they know what happened as a result of that attack. They know about Gaza being blown down to rubble because of that attack. What are they saying, in effect? It's like, hey, guys, you can stop it all. You can stop it all. Go back in time. You have the ability to stop the October 7th massacre. You have the opportunity to stop it. And by stopping that, you will stop the repercussions in the future. The retaliation would not have occurred. Gaza would still have all its buildings intact. Would you protect all the people involved? Would you protect all the people of Gaza if it required you to protect the people of Israel? And they said, no, it's worth it. Killing those 1,200 people was totally worth it. Even with the repercussions, it's all worth it. What's that mean? It means the greatest thing in the world, according to these people, is killing Jews. That's it. That's what they believe. They admit it. The greatest thing in the world, even if it leads to 100 times or 1,000 times as many Muslims killed in retaliation, they say it's worth it.
I just checked the guy's Miko. That's the guy who was under investigation. I just checked his Twitter feed. Apparently, he didn't post anything since December 7th probably because of the ongoing investigation. But in response to reports, he said at some point, he tweeted, "Zionists lost the Oxford Union debate even with two Palestinian collaborators desperate to please their masters. They claim I broke some law when I expressed my opinion that Palestinians in Gaza are heroes." Two Palestinian collaborators. He's referring to Mosab and Yousef Haddad, who are both Arabs, as Palestinian collaborators. It's just such filthy language that is typical of this of somebody who is loyal to a terrorist organization like Hamas.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, though, because he's basically calling them traitors to their people when he's an Israeli.
I know
that dude is an Israeli supporting people who attack Israelis, but they're the traitors because they switch sides, even though he switched sides. Wow. All right, let me back this up one more time, just because I won't interrupt the point that Mosab is making here.
Back that up.
Now, how many of you sitting here want to teach me a lesson about morality? If you knew about October 7 attacks, any of you, raise your hands. If you had information about Hamas attack on October 7, would you report it to the authorities? If you do, raise your hand. Sit down. Less than 5% in this room raised their hands that they would report a massive terrorist attack that targeted civilians indiscriminately. That includes Arabs, Muslim, Jews, Christians, peaceful farming communities on October 7, ethnically cleansing 20 Jewish communities because of their ethnicity and because of their religion.
Did everyone catch that? He went down the list. You support killing indiscriminately civilian men, women, and children, peaceful farming communities, which include Jews, Muslims, Christians, everything else, men, women, and children. You just admitted that you would not stop someone. Why? They're all on the Israel side. Those people are all on the Israel side of the fence, and therefore completely acceptable to slaughter men, women, and children, regardless of their religious beliefs, regardless of their backgrounds, regardless of what they think, regardless of any role they've ever had in any of this. You support killing them. What's your objection? What's your objection to what Israel's doing? And go, they're killing civilians. They're killing civilians. You support killing civilians. You support targeting civilians.
Exactly.
What is your objection? What is your objection? What do you believe is actually wrong in a war that qualifies as genocide? And then he pointed out ethnically cleansing. They're ethnically cleansing these places. What do you guys complain about? Oh, Jews are ethnically cleansing. They're doing all this stuff. They're not doing that stuff. You guys support doing that stuff. You guys support it. Here at the Oxford Union, you guys support all the stuff you're accusing Israel of doing. Israel's not doing that stuff. Your guys did it, and you affirm it. You say thumbs up to what they did. This is sick stuff, man.
People are sick.
People are sick. You wish you had your button to say you're sick. You're sick. Wild, wild stuff, guys. No wonder they delayed. I think that's gonna haunt them for a while. Can you imagine? If they had simply released the full clip so we could see all these people in the audience admitting that they support ethnic cleansing and targeting civilian men, women, and children.
That'll be funny.
Take a couple super chats. What would Cecil Rhodes say if he could see Oxford Union today? Probably something unfathomably base that would make me like him a lot more. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Islam ruins everything it touches. You have an organization that is dedicated to having debates on very sensitive topics and so on. Something that's very good and healthy for the world. What happens? Islam infiltrates, takes it over for terrorism.
That's pretty Islamophobic.
That's what happens. German quality, Turkish timing, AP. German quality, Turkish timing, AP Studios. You said you want the D. Wood hypothesis to spell something. Have you considered the David Wood awesome hypothesis? It spells dawa. I need something else for awesome. I don't like the awesome there. I like the David Wood. The David Wood. No, it's a hypothesis about, that's a response to the standard Islamic narrative. The standard Islamic narrative, it spells sin. And so, yeah, come up with something better than awesome. Let's see. AP, you were looking for purpose in life. You said it in the earlier live. Well, I got one for you. Join me in getting absolutely jacked. Next time you debate hijab, you will out-munke him.
Okay. Let's do it.
Do you want to out-munka hijab?
Let's do it. I want to munka.
Could you guys share some stories working with the FBI, DHS, given your criticisms of Islam? Would love a story time. Share some stories working with the FBI, DHS. Do we work with the FBI?
Do we?
No.
I mean, I met with the FBI a few times.
I met with the FBI once when they showed up at my door to talk about credible threats against me.
I met with them, with some of them in person several times. The funny thing is, the first time that the FBI, that I made contact with the FBI, I didn't even initiate it. It was, remember Andalusian Project, Asadullah Ali?
Yeah.
That guy reported me to the FBI. he reported me to the FBI because he watched my video on why I left Islam. And in the video, I was explaining that that as a teenager, when I was in high school, I was very supportive of communist movements, of revolutionary communist movements that were even that were involved in terrorist activities and so on. And I was part of I once was part of a youth organization that was supporting them and so on. Crazy times. But anyway, so he listened to that part and he was like, "Oh, what? He admits he was a terrorist, and then he came to America. I need to report this guy so that they can deport him. This is how I can show the Islamophobes." So he called the FBI on me. The FBI looked into this. The agent looking into it was like, "Wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense." So the agent came to my door, and I invited him inside. We sat down, and he said, "So we received some complaints about your past and your communist thing and so on." And I was like, "Yeah, I supported some violent, bad terrorist organizations and communist movements when I was a teenager. And I am very, very far away from that. I don't have any such things anymore. Obviously, I'm going into a completely different direction as an adult." And the guy who came to my door said, he said, "Yeah, I can see that, but I didn't actually come here to question you about your past. I came here because the person who reported you, do you know who this person is?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. Can you tell me more about this person?" "Yes, I can." And I actually just brought my laptop over and just showed him everything I have on the guy, and he's like, okay, well, because it looks like you are not the problem here. It looks like this person is a problem.
Smart.
Does he have an obsession with you? Does he have a thing with you? Yeah, he does. So I gave him just everything I know about him. I was like, okay, well, we'll be in touch with you. Here's my card. Keep in touch with us, and so on. And then I started establishing just this whole keeping in touch with the FBI, and met several times with them. Once they came to check on me because they said we received information that there are credible threats against you and so on. Is everything okay? I was like, yeah.
And they showed up. They showed up at your house, right? Yeah. So a couple things there. One, you said that was Asadullah Ali.
Yeah.
What a freaking coward, guys. Think about this. It's we don't like this guy making videos. What do? They know they can't impose Sharia on us at this time. And so what do? They try to get the same result by other means, right? So complaining to the FBI about AP supporting communists and when he was a teenager. You see? Meanwhile, who do these guys support? People who say they're going to kill AP and chop his head off as soon as they get the opportunity. Those are the good guys. But a couple interesting things here. So the FBI actually showed up. That's what they did when they wanted to inform me about these credible threats. This was after I invented the awesome art of Kuranagami. And the FBI showed up. Sir, we're here to inform you that there are credible threats against your life, blah, 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 over some recent videos you've posted. And I go, hey, that was a response. Look, here's what they did. And here's why. And he goes, sir, I am not here to judge you for how you use your constitutionally protected freedom of speech. We are just here to inform you that there are credible threats against your life. I was like, but anyway, isn't it interesting that these guys are actually smarter than you would think? Like, I mean, think a guy showing up and saying, hey, could you tell me about this guy who's raising complaints about you? Something looks a little off here. Guess what? That's smart. That's smart, right? So these guys are actually more on the ball than they let on. The other thing is, you mentioned the FBI showed up, and that's what they did. That's what they did when they came to me. Why is that funny? Because Sheikh Uthman posted a video once. The FBI called me and said that the Islamophobes are after me. And then I saw someone respond. It's like, hey, I work with the FBI. The FBI doesn't just randomly call you and tell. The FBI will just show up at your door. Yeah. That's what they do. He says that's protocol. We show up at your door. Who's calling it, right? But it just happens to be the same guy who faked a hate crime against himself and so on and habitually lies. So can't trust that. Anyway, that was all our FBI stories for the day.
Somebody probably called him on the phone and said, hey, what's up, man? This is FBI. Just want to tell you that you are in danger.
And then the FBI called me and they said, Sheikh Uthman, because of your powerful dawah, the Islamophobes of the world are trying to unite to conspire against you. You have to stop your dawah for the protection of your life. But I told him, and I said, no, I will not stop dawah because I'm ready to die for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the FBI said, wow, this is so powerful. Can we convert to this powerful religion? And I said, yes. And just so everyone knows, the entire FBI converted to Islam, alhamdulillah. And every last one of his fans like, oh my goodness, so powerful. He's making such a great difference.
Wow, this is so powerful.
It would not,
the power of Islam.
It would not matter that it's the most insanely idiotic story ever. How do we know? Because this guy literally faked a hate crime against himself, squirted fake blood all over himself, blamed us, then said that he filed a police report. They did their investigation. They arrested the guy. They put the guy on trial. The guy was convicted and sentenced and is now in prison, according to Sheikh Uthman. Meanwhile, an investigative journalist contacted the police station, the prosecutors, everyone. No one's ever heard of this. No evidence of this anywhere. Interesting. And this is why they call him Sheikh Ibn Smollett, Sheikh Ibn Fibbin, Sheikh Ibn Hate Crime, all that stuff.
Sheikh Ibn Fibbin.
Guys, I'm starting to think Britain is compromised. You are thinking correctly.
What gives you the idea?
Here's
the idea.
Guys, here's what's actually messed up. I mean, Islam focuses on doing this, focuses on something like the United Nations. Good idea to have a big organization where different countries send their representatives, can actually hash out disagreements and so on. It's a good idea. What does Islam do? Islam just floods it, forms a block, and starts controlling what that does, and uses it to support terror. We know it. We know it. We know it for a fact. It's been exposed. They have actual terrorists working for the UN Relief Agency and so on. It's been exposed numerous times. And so they ruin it. They take a debating society. Hey, let's have debate. Oh no, let's get a bunch of terrorist supporters in there to take it over, and then to pressure everyone into agreeing with them. What's the result of this? What happens? Well, guess what? People who are interested in debate are going to, new generations are going to come along. They're going to be interested in debate, go to the Oxford Union, and they're going to be surrounded by a bunch of terrorist supporters who say you have to be on board with this. They ruin it. It ruins everything. I am much stronger than Mohijab. Oh, it's Ripped Van Idemir. Ripped Van Idemir. I am much stronger than Mohijab and even Buff IP. There is no one stronger. You see, this is the proof. Orda? What order? Orda? What order, man? The guy yelling Orda. I asked Alex O'Connor, Cosmic Skeptic, about why he doesn't go after Islam. First question in Q&A during most recent debate. I think that's the one he had with Cliff Connectly. I think I'm going through that on Cameron's channel on Monday. Haven't seen it yet, but so he said he asked the question. He said he prefers Christianity chats, but also admitted partly it's for safety reasons. Curious, what are your thoughts?
Well, I know already that is the case because I was in touch with him personally when he made a video about Islam. I don't remember what the video was about, but he made a video about Islam, about Islam's treatment of others, and so on. And he took the video down after receiving threats and things like that. And I was a little bit disappointed, honestly. I messaged with him, and he said to me that he can't really tolerate the massive reactions that he gets to any criticism of Islam. And the thing is, he also said that this time it was different because people actually got in touch with somebody very close to him and started making personal threats against him. After which he decided, I can't do this. So he took it down.
What they did.
Talked about it for a while.
That's what they did with Venom Fang X back in the day when he made videos making fun of Muhammad, and they threatened him, and he kept making the videos. Eventually, they contacted his parents at their work and threatened his parents at their work. He was still a teenager. And so he took down his Islam stuff because they were actually threatening his parents and so on. So anyway, there are always efforts on the part of Islam to silence anyone who disagrees with what they want. And they have multiple ways of doing that. The most obvious way is just harassing people and threatening them. If that doesn't work, then they'll start contacting people who are close to you. Guys, I'm actually fine with Alex saying, "Hey, you know what? I don't want to deal with these guys. These guys might kill me." You might say, but we have to stand up. That's true. It doesn't have to be Alex. He's a pretty recognizable guy. He would be extremely recognizable in public. So even though people need to stand up against this, not everyone needs to do it if they're going to be especially in danger where they are. So anyway, keep in mind, back in the day, hijab was like saying where he lived and stuff like this. So that's credible. And he's an atheist or an agnostic. Now, I don't know. I know he's been shifting his level of aggression and hostility over the past couple of years. But, at the end of the day, atheists, you believe that your life ends at death. So you probably don't want to be a martyr against Islam. Let the Christians will take care of that for you. Let the Christians take care of that for you. So all atheists,
I think I like Alex where he is and what he does right now. I think he's a very good, very, 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 very good interlocutor and a very good interviewer and thinker and all that. I think he's doing a fantastic job in seeking and discussing different ideas and so on. So I think he's doing a very good job, and not everyone has to be the enemy.
Yeah, you can always let people in safer spots. Let me go ahead and go through a couple of these responses here. So T Turbine says terrorism works. Yes, it can. We have Marion saying cowards are all over the place. And you have Mojobs.
It wouldn't work with me.
You have safety first.
If people start threatening people that I care about, I will just go harder against Islam.
That's what I would do. Guys, Cosmic Skeptic, Alex O'Connor, he has the stuff that he's interested in. Again, not everyone has to be blasting away at Islam. And if it came down to me or AP or Cosmic blasting away at Islam, Alex would be in more danger because of his location. So, guys, I'm all for that. Think about this, guys. Let's suppose you have a Christian in Iran right now. Those of you in the chat would, if I said, "Hey, should this Christian?" Matter of fact, let's say an atheist. Let's say there's an atheist in Iran. Should that atheist run out right now and say, "Muhammad the false prophet, he's an idiot. Quit worshiping this pedophile"?
That's what they do.
Some of you would say, yes, you should. And I would say, no, don't. Let the rest of us do that. You would be thrown in prison and tortured and killed for it. Why are you guys obsessed? Yes, people need to take a stand. It doesn't mean you have to be idiots about it. And so if Cosmic decided he wants to blast away at Islam, I'd totally support that. If he says, you know what, I have other stuff, and I would be in especially high levels of danger if I'm doing it because I'm very easy to recognize and I'm in a dangerous location and they've already been doxing me and contacting people. If he wants to step back, no problem. The rest of us can do this, guys. The rest of us can do this. So we can wreck Islam while being smart and not sending a young atheist to his inevitable death.
Yeah.
Got that? Let's see. Go through a couple more super chats and get back to Mosab. Where was that? Oh, there we go. And Based Autistic says, I've been a fan of Alex since I was an atheist and never would force or shame, but considering the state of the UK, it seems debating Islam is necessary when hijab fans want to hurt Jewish people. Yes, I agree. People need to be blasting away at what's going on in the UK. It does not mean every individual person needs to do it, especially when everyone else is going to throw him under the bus and in other words, like, why does he have to lay down his life when the population is bending over backwards to support Islam? Not directly, but by the people they vote into power.
No,
Like
directly.
why? Like why does this atheist have to sacrifice his life for on behalf of leaders who are basically begging to be subjugated? Why? Why does he need to do it?
Yeah, considering that the United Kingdom is basically a sellout nation that
Totally
just
sellout.
bends over backward and just lets others do to them whatever they want. Considering that most of the UK is just a complete giant mess, driven by stupidity and naivety and ignorance and all that. I mean, an entire nation that is just so laughable, that was at some point grand, that was at some point fantastic, that was at some point everywhere around the world where the sun never sets, and now it's like it's now they don't even want to go outside to see the sunset because there are Islamists outside, and they're like,
I would rather stay at home, mate, because what if I get stabbed outside, my mate? I'm not saying they're all bad, innit? I'm not saying they're all bad, but what if I get stabbed? By the way, let's have some more immigrants over, innit?
in such a nation, why would you stand up and do something? Considering that the vast majority of this nation is completely stupid. Alhamdulillah.
We had a couple people saying there's an audio problem right now, and some people are saying they said sound is lagging on and off.
Huh. That's
Some people are saying if you refresh, that fixes the problem. Guys, let us know real quick, like. People are saying if you refresh, if you close it and come back in, they're saying it works. But check it, just because, I mean, I don't know what I can do about it right here if people are having an audio problem, because this says my internet is blazing right now. Go ahead. Yeah, guys, everyone refresh your audio. Oh, and Carol B is saying she hasn't seen any audio problems. It might be certain areas. Okay, so for anyone having audio problems, refresh and, okay, people are saying, yup. Okay, hope that works. It's fixed after closing. Okay, everyone so far has said that after they, that either their area doesn't have any audio problems, those who did can fix it by refreshing. Hope that helps. All right, take a couple more of these super chats. Want to get back to this video. Been a fan of Alex since I was an atheist and never would force or shame, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, again, would not want him to lay down his life for a population that is telling him to go screw himself.
beast.
In other words, if someone's going to lay down their lives in the UK, let it be Christians, not poor atheists. D. Wood, you need to do a video on the Muslim tactic where they think their position is correct if a scholar, no matter how fringe, agrees with them. That is a problem. Look, there's this German scholar in 1782 who said this. This is the proof. You silly atheists don't need a sky daddy to be a good person. All your arguments have been refuted on Reddit atheism. Haha, it's 2024 and you still believe. And that is from Amazing, Skeptical, Rational, Cosmic, Free-Thinking Atheist, which sounds like every atheist channel I'm familiar with.
God daddy.
God has picked out Mosab and not picked on him. That is God's grace and power. I believe God is using Mosab as well. My brother in our debates constantly says that current Jews in Israel are not native. How do I counter this? AP, give the short version.
My brother in debate constantly says that current Jews in Israel are not native. How do I counter this? I was going to say something. It says brother. So, it's a very stupid thing to argue. So it's kind of a weird thing to argue against. First off, from my perspective, I never get into the whole discussion of whether these people, whether the Jews are natives or not. In my opinion, this doesn't matter at all. In my opinion, this is completely irrelevant. But to many Jews, this matters. To many pro-Zionist voices, this matters. And to the other side, this matters as well, because they make it look like this is a fight between the indigenous population and the invaders and so on. But if you really want to get down to it, we have already established all the research, all the evidence, all the data that which demonstrates beyond reasonable doubt that the population of Jews in Israel today is connected to the land of Israel. Here is the thing. When somebody says that they don't have a connection to this land, or somebody says that they're not natives to this land, people are usually talking about the Ashkenazi Jews. You will find that they are usually talking about the Ashkenazi Jews, those who were further north in Europe or west in Europe, in Poland, Lithuania, Germany, and so on. The funny thing is that those are not even the majority of Jews in Israel. In Israel, the majority of Jews are the Mizrahi and Sephardic Jews, who are from Arab countries and from Spain, North Africa, and so on. The Ashkenazi Jews are actually not in the majority. Most Israeli Jews are not Ashkenazi Jews. But even the Ashkenazi Jews are proven to have to originate from the Levant, meaning their genetics are traced to the Levant, their culture is traced to the Levant, their beliefs are traced to the Levant, and so on. The Israelis mostly are not Ashkenazis. The others are even more easily connected to the land, even more easily connected to the Levant, to the region. When it comes to the local when it comes to the local Arab population, they have just as many problems explaining their ties to the land. You can see results of genetics by the so-called Palestinian population. You will see that that the ones that have the most pure connection among the Palestinians are those who are usually identified as Christian Palestinians. Those who identify as Muslim Palestinians are much less connected to the land and have a giant mix of genetics of North Africans, East Africans, Arabs, and so on. It's a very mixed population. So the whole idea that these Jews are not natives and therefore they have no right to the land, it's just a bunch of nonsense. It is a bunch of nonsense. Somebody said earlier, oh, DNA tests are illegal in Israel. They're not illegal. They're not illegal. Israel, like many countries, simply does not offer for buying by going to the store DNA tests. You can, however, online order tests from Ancestry DNA, 23andMe, and so on, and can get your tests done, can have your results, and so on, and can see what you want to see. Many Israelis do this. You can see it right there online. Jews, Israelis are natives and are connected to the land. There is no argument against it. There is no reason to deny it. And those who are proven to have invaded this region and mixed with the invaders, or who have invaded this region, are the Arabs. They have abandoned, some people in the region mixed with those invading Arabs. They have abandoned their roots and have become mixed with these people. They gave up their ethnicities if they converted, if they mixed with the invading population, and became turned into a different population. Why do they have a right to the land? This whole nativity discussion is just, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Jews are historically known to have ties to the land. In the beginning of the last century, it was established by the League of Nations and later by the United Nations that these Jews are historically tied to this land, and that it is the responsibility of nations to re-establish a homeland for the Jews, because obviously it doesn't work out for this population to be a diaspora here and there. It just doesn't go very well. And just considering all the attacks against Jews right now that are happening, these are very, very good reasons. These attacks against Jews that we are experiencing today are very, very good reasons why there should be a Jewish state. those who are against it for one reason or another, for religious reasons, cultural reasons, ethnic reasons, hateful reasons, and so on, can you just leave them alone? Can you just have them one place that culturally, historically belongs to them? Can you just allow that to happen, please?
All right. So I asked AP for the short response. He gave a 15-minute rant. Now we all understand. Of course, the important takeaway there was DNA tests are how I know that I'm 2.7% Jewish. 2.7% chosen, 100% dope and sexy, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's. The Onyx Codex here says, if you're an atheist who gleefully mocks and criticizes Christianity, but you refuse to do the same for Islam in equal measure, I don't respect you. Understood properly. You could agree with this entirely. It could be different situations. Suppose someone grows up and they had a bad experience with Christianity and they mock it. That would not mean they need to mock every other thing equally. But you're right. It's an ongoing thing where, like TV shows and so on, it's fun to make fun of Christians, Mormons, basically people who aren't going to attack you for it, and they'll remain completely silent on Islam, in which case, then you're just being cowards.
Hey, you know what's funny? Oxford Union apparently published the speech by Miko Peled just 6 hours ago.
They did.
However, they edited it and removed the part where he described October 7 as a heroic act.
We might need to check that one out. If you don't have anything else to cover, we might want to go through that speech, especially if someone probably has a phone recording of what he actually said and so on.
Yeah.
So we might want to check that out. All right, let's check out a little more Mosab here.
What's happening in Gaza is not the same, because you are the one who's taken the side of terrorists, knowing exactly your rule, and you are enjoying it. But at some point, you will have to deal with the consequences, because everything is recorded against you. Now, there come the Palestinians, the most pathetic people on planet Earth.
I think everything goes off the rails right here. I recall this. We couldn't see it before. I don't even know if we'll see it now. I don't know if they're going to cut to the wide angle. I don't know if they're going to cut to the. I know they cut to the wide angle for much of this. I don't know if they're going to do it here, but I remembered when we were listening to it that this is where things kind of went off the rails. Let me back up and then we'll play what happens.
You. Now, there come the Palestinians, the most pathetic people on planet Earth.
Is out of order.
Sit down.
The speaker is out of order. If the speaker order. When the chair is making a ruling, the speaker must remain seated. If the speaker repeats this again, I will have to ask them to leave.
They want to delegitimize someone.
It's funny, he just keeps talking while the guy's shouting orders at him. Let me back that up a little bit just to see, because I have trouble focusing on what both of them are saying at the same time.
It's so ridiculous, isn't this? So this is supposed to be. Let's see this again. What does their account say? Their X account, the Oxford Union's X account, says the last bastion of free speech.
The last bastion of free speech.
The last bastion of free speech. But because he called the Palestinians the most pathetic people on the planet Earth. This is like, if you do this again, this is out of order. If you do this again, you will have to be removed. You will have to be removed. Really? This is the last bastion of free speech? You ridiculous, pathetic weasels. Pathetic, ridiculous, little whiny, soft cake weakling. Whatever.
And here's the thing: you can have a debate, and have a debating society and so on, and have certain rules established. Like you could have it as a rule: hey, you can't call people pathetic. You can't say an entire group is pathetic, and so on. You can make rules like that. My issue is that what are these people doing the entire time? a bunch of genocidal blah, blah, blah. We openly support terrorist attacks against them. We support the attacks against civilian men, women, and children. We support all this, yes, to Israel, from the river to the sea. And you say, well, you guys are pathetic. Oh, my goodness, our feelings. What about our feelings? How could you say something so mean? So the issue is just be consistent. Be consistent. If you're going to say, hey, don't say these mean things about people. One, I don't know what you do with the Quran, calling people the worst of, calling Jews and Christians the worst of creatures and things like that. I mean, just imagine if I said, hey, you're the most pathetic group in the world. Oh my goodness, it's the worst thing ever. How could anyone say such a thing? Okay, your book calls Jews and Christians the worst of creatures. That's not even saying you're the most pathetic people. That's saying you're lower than insects. But that's fine, because that's the Quran. Let's see.
Let's do this. I'm a pro-Palestine protester, and I will say all of those things, and you will just call my people pathetic. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
We will rise up. We will fight. We will humiliate you. We will destroy you. It's okay to kill all the people. You deserve it. You deserve it. We are freedom fighters. We will show you what it means to suffer. Free Palestine. Intifada revolution. You deserve bleeding and dying.
Dude, you're pathetic. Okay, I take it back, man. I didn't want to hurt your feelings. You're talking about just completely wiping out my people and exterminating us and doing terrorist attacks against us. And I said one little thing and you broke down. Please, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Please remove this man.
Okay, we will remove him for this horrible thing that he said. Let's see what they got here. Yeah, but I mean, think about this. Like what are they teaching this debate? Normally, if you have a debate society, it's like, guys, you need to learn to defend your positions and deal with criticisms of your position, with mockery of your position. You need to learn to deal with that. That's part of the idea of a debate society. And what are they actually training? Well, no, you can blast him like this. You can call him all sorts of names. You can call for the annihilation of Jews and Israel and so on. That's all fine, but it's not fine to say anything negative about your side. What is this, man? Islam ruins everything, man. Does it over and over again.
Is making a ruling. The speaker must remain seated. If the speaker repeats this again, I will have to ask him to leave.
They want to delegitimize someone who's born in that land.
A point of order has been raised. It is directed to the chair. A point of order has been raised. I have to hear the point of order. I have to hear the point of order.
Sit down.
Could I hear the point of order from the member? Order.
Sit down.
Order.
It would be fun. He should go, sit down and shut up, or I will make you. That would be funny.
It's funny that he's basically telling the president there to shut up.
For you to tell a member to sit down. A point of order is directed to the chair.
Sit down.
Order. 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 Could I hear the point of order from the member for Senate Hall?
Then get out.
Order.
Did he say then get out? Is that what he said? The guy said, he just insulted me personally. Because this guy's either Palestinian or considers himself Palestinian. Everyone's Palestinian nowadays, apparently. But but apparently, did he just say get out? Because if so, that's a funny response. Let's see.
Order. Could I hear the point of order from the member for Senate Hall?
Then get out.
Order.
He said then get out?
Just insulted me personally and insulted many Palestinians, and I asked him to be escorted out of the chamber in the same manner that a fellow student was escorted out of the chamber when she was alleged to have insulted.
Look at these people.
Woo! Woo!
Order.
Woo! Order. If this is repeated again, I'll have to ask the speaker to leave. The speaker was out of order. Please continue.
What? This house has been hijacked by Muslims.
Could I hear the point of order? Could I hear the point of order? Order. Could I hear the point?
Point of parliamentary procedure, Mr. President. Well, He does know how to set people off. Let's see.
Order. Please have a
What
seat.
order?
The point of order is behind you.
What order?
Could I hear the point of order from the member? Could I hear the point of order? Order. Could I hear the point of order? Please state your point of order. 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 Could I please hear the point of order?
The Speaker made absolutely no reference to anyone in this chamber. He passed an opinion on his own people. Would he please be allowed to continue to debate, given how important his voice is in this conversation?
Order. 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 I have made my ruling very clear.
What is your ruling? I did not
It is repeated.
insult
The speaker will have to
anyone
leave.
in the room.
Order. Order. Could I hear the point of order?
Given that this is a Speaker who, once invited by this union, was then attempts being made to prevent him from coming here to speak, and now we have seen that committed again in the course of this Speaker speaking, he has a right to freedom of speech, he has a right to speak in this chamber as an invited guest of this union. To order him out as a result of the opinion he has expressed on his own people brings this union into disrepute. It is a moment.
Yeah, that is interesting because I can see why someone, if you just say they are the most Palestinians are the most pathetic people in the planet, I understand why people would get offended at that. But again, that's his group, and two, he doesn't believe that Palestinians are an actual group. He believes that it's people have been told they have this identity, even though there is no real identity, and you have been force-fed that you're part of this group, even though that group didn't exist, in that you are convinced to believe this in an effort to manipulate you and to use you to make money for people like Arafat and so on. That's what he believed. You can understand why you would call that pathetic. But he's also, that's his group as well. I mean, that would be like me as an American going over and there's a debate and it has something about Americans. I say, oh my goodness, Americans are the most pathetic people in the world. That doesn't seem like, you could say, oh, that's pretty harsh words or something like that about Americans, but is that something you kick them out? Like, or suppose another speaker had said, oh my goodness, here we are, Great Britain, we fought off the Germans in World War II, and here we are bending over backwards to appease a bunch of anti-Israel jihadis. We're the most pathetic people in the world. Could you say something like that to emphasize your point? I think you could.
I can say Turks are pathetic, for example, right?
Yeah, you say it like 50 times per live stream in one way or another.
I didn't
And you exemplify it. You like display it constantly. Every time we see her, we're like, gosh, Turks. I only know I don't know many Turks, but man, this one's terrible.
Pathetic. I didn't notice that this person who the woman who stood up and spoke in favor of Mosab, that is Natasha Hausdorff. That's one of those speakers. If I'm not wrong, I haven't heard her speak, although many people have mentioned her before. Sounds beast.
Hey, if they have next time they have some super controversial topic that we're interested, we should just go through all of them at some point.
No.
Go through all the presentations.
I have heard your point of order. I have made my ruling very clear. Could the speaker please proceed without making any disparaging references to any population? Please continue.
No disparaging remarks to any population except Israel. Then you can say anything you want, including calling for completely wiping them off the
What a stupid, ridiculous rule, man. What is how ridiculous. This is free speech. You know what this reminds me of? The fact that these people are here in this room.
What do you mean, these people?
Pathetic, chubby president.
What are you doing calling people pathetic? Point of parliamentary procedure.
And it's like, please do not make disparaging references to population. It's like this reminds me of when kids have a toy, toy house, or when kids play doctor, or when kids do things like that. This is what this reminds me of. Like they're trying to act like they're in a serious house or parliament or something like that. The speaker, the president, the speaker, order, point of order. You're a bunch of little dumb kids, man. You're a bunch of stupid, dumb little kids, and you don't even represent the very values that this union, which at some point possibly was a serious place, was set up for. You guys are a bunch of pathetic little whiny loser babies. Anyway, let's continue.
AP, if you have any more of these outbursts against an entire group of people, I will have to shut down this live stream.
They're pathetic people.
Hurting too many people's feelings.
Pathetic people.
All right, now that we've established some ground rules and we do not want to hurt anyone's feelings unless they're Israelis, we can proceed.
They want to delegitimize my right to exist because I oppose their violent ideology. Then they want to cry day and night of a victim. Please sit down.
I have to hear the point of order.
Insulting Zionists, Israelis. Israel being a nationality.
I've heard the point of order. You have seen a member being asked to leave the chamber before on a different side of the chamber. I have made sure that people from both sides of the chamber are allowed to make their speeches and that they're allowed to be heard.
Is anyone in here just allowed to raise a point of order at any point they want? Just that point of order, and you could like the speaker has to stop? If so, that's kind of a garbage system. Because then you could just like keep interrupting someone every
Point of order.
Okay.
Point of order.
Okay, let's pause. I'll hear you. Got to hear the point of order.
All right, let's continue.
Point of order.
Point of order.
Without any further.
Okay, AP wants to raise a point of order.
Other points of order.
Okay.
Please continue.
All the interruptions are not going to help the situation. You'll have to face the reality and the truth the way it is. I was born in that land. It's my birthright. And I was born, sit down, and I was born as an Arab. I was not born as Palestinian, like millions of Arab children. And the Palestinians have been pushing the Palestinian violent indoctrination based on false narrative of apartheid, colonialism, genocide, occupation. While Palestine never existed as a sovereign country.
True.
It never existed except as a colonial entity. And the joke on the Palestinians that they actually claim to be indigenous of the land, fighting against colonial.
What? We have a point of order? We have a point of order?
Yeah, the speaker should not reference disparagingly my favorite food.
Point taken. The speaker will be publicly flogged and humiliated for making said reference. All right. Now you may continue.
While they choose a colonial entity as their national identity. How pathetic is that? I find it really unbelievable that the Palestinians continue spreading this lie and millions of people around the world are believing them. If you ask
did you see what he just did? He does this regularly. I've pointed it out before. He says something that enrages people and they flip out and they're, how could you say such a thing? But he follows it up with an explanation, even if it's like, as in this case, right after, or it could be like days after. But he did this with the cow. He did this with the cow, right? If I have to choose between the 1.8 billion Muslims and the cow, I will choose the cow. He eventually gets called out for that. He's like, a cow doesn't harm anyone. A cow instead provides for people, provides milk, provides meat, provides leather, is otherwise not harmful and so on. And therefore, why would I not prefer something that doesn't harm me and only benefits me, right? So he explains it. When he said to the woman, you are not even fit to be a mother. And then he eventually gets called out on that. So what are you talking about? She said she approves of using children as human shields and so on, what they're doing. If you believe it's okay to use children as a human shield, you're not fit to be a mother. Do not have kids because we know what you think of them. So he says these things to outrage people. And then, but he always has an explanation there. He started off by saying Palestinians are pathetic. This caused this big uproar, but he came back to the point and saying, wait, you only existed as Palestine was a colonial entity. and you've accepted it as a national identity, and you've accepted a completely false and absurd and ridiculous, demonstrably false narrative about your people, and then you are being used by other people for their agenda. This is pathetic. And he just says that's pathetic. And so,
Point of order. The speaker shall not refer to anything as pathetic.
Okay, I'm ruling in favor of AP's point of order. Mr. Hassan Yousef, you will not call anything or anyone pathetic anymore unless you happen to say it about Jews. All right.
What is Palestine? Sit down. If you ask them what is Palestine, they don't know how to answer. If you ask them what makes a Palestinian Palestinian, they don't know how to answer. Stop, interrupt me, sit down. We heard you. Sit down. Stop, interrupt me, and listen. Now,
we need to give them some cooler things to say, some American things to say. Why don't you shut your pie hole? Something like that. That'd be funny.
Their strategy, and this is what need to be discussed here on the floor tonight, is the use of human shield and the evil practice of sacrificing children for political and financial gain. This is the mastery of the Palestinians. This is what they've been doing. They want the children, the Arab children, to continue carrying the burden of their sick indoctrination for eternity.
I have to say, because we've heard him say children, then we've heard him say children. Now he's back to saying children. I have to say, I like it. I like children better. For some reason, it just fits him. It fits his speaking style. So
he probably was watching our live stream and he heard us say that he should say children instead, so he switched back.
Yeah, that is.
And a bunch of people come here crying as victims or as the saviors of the Gaza children. And I tell them, who authorized you even to speak on behalf of the children of Gaza? If you want to dismantle the apartheid state, he wants to dismantle the apartheid state, and none of you paid attention of how dangerous that. This means he wants to dismantle the state of Israel. This is what he wants to do. And that means the ethnic cleansing of the only Jewish state. Don't interrupt me and listen. What he wants to wipe out a nation, the most ancient nation in the Middle East, the most authentic nation in the Middle East, the only Jewish state on the planet, and he wants from the children of Gaza to do the job on his behalf, on behalf of his political ambition. And I tell him, why don't you go carry a rifle and fight the apartheid state? Why the children of Gaza supposed to fight on your behalf?
I'm not sure which speaker he's talking about. Probably the Miko dude, but you'd have to see the order in which they spoke, because he's referring to one of the other speakers, and he's pointing out what the guy said. He's spelling out what this guy's actually calling for. If you are for the land being freed and being taken over by the original people, the Palestinians, whose made-up story we believe, what are you actually saying? Because that sounds really great. We want Palestine to be free. We want the children to get what they want. You say, okay, what does he actually mean? What's he say? You want Israel wiped out. You want ethnic cleansing in Israel. You want the Jews exterminated in order to give the land to groups led by Hamas and so on. That's what you actually want. So he just spells it out. It's like, how are you the good guys here? How do you even view yourselves as the good guys? You've got a made-up group that bought a lie to turn people like Yasser Arafat into billionaires for profiting from it. And your goal is to keep these people and these kids, raising these children to be obsessed with slaughtering Jews, which that gets them killed in return. Make this make sense, please. How you view yourselves as the good guys in all this. And he's pointing out this guy, he's sitting comfortably, and what's he doing? Encouraging the kids to go out and be human shields for their great cause, their made-up cause. It's nuts, man. And I have to say it is pathetic.
And on behalf of your righteousness, you are not the savior. This is a very severe state of mental illness that you think that you are the savior of Gazan children, because you are not
Yeah, getting
the
them killed.
savior. And all
Addressing the motion and not making personal statements against other speakers.
What did he say about Palestine? He said, you're not the savior. Yeah, guess what, guys? Regardless of your position, you have all these morons who are cheering on the people of Gaza. Yes, keep fighting. Yes, we'll cheer for you. Yes, throw that stick as you're done. Yes, do it. Just keep fighting. They're living comfortably in the UK. They're living comfortably in other parts of the world. What are these people doing? They're saying, yes, you guys keep going and dying. You keep dying. Okay, if that's what you say, how are you the defenders and protectors of these kids that you keep encouraging to go out and die? How are you viewing yourself as their savior? You're living comfortably. They're dying. How are you their savior? You're not. You're the one who wants this endless cycle of violence to continue. What is your real intention? They already acknowledged it. They already admitted it when they said, hey, if you could have stopped October 7th, would you have done it? No. Over 95% of them, no, they would not have stopped it, which means they value killing 1,200 Israelis as so important and so significant that it justifies it outweighs all the bloodshed afterwards that follows as retaliation.
Alhamdulillah.
So how are you guys the saviors here? You want the bloodshed to continue. You want many more people in Gaza to die. That's what you want.
Powerful.
But you're the saviors, scumbags.
now, they talk about genocide. Israel sent leaflets, millions of text messages. They've made phone calls. They gave safe passages to people to evacuate war zone. While Hamas embedded under schools, hospitals, they did not leave any sacred zone for the civilians to evacuate to safety. Then they booby-trapped the entire area. And Israel had to send its foot soldiers to suffer additional casualty on the top of October 7, while they had the capacity to carpet bomb the entire Gaza Strip. If their intention, you never been to Gaza, you don't know what you're talking about, so sit down. After the war, what was the day? Where did you go? After the war? After October 7?
Order. Can the speaker desist from addressing other members? Okay. Order. Can the speaker please be heard? Could I please ask the member from Zelenin Hall to desist? Thank you. Please conclude your speech.
Israel did, for those who are here to listen, by the way, it's very, very important. And I will remind you at some point in the future, when we look back at this time of confusion and the push of the Palestinian violent indoctrination, they are going to hit a dead end eventually. But here, let me be...
Point of order.
What?
Point of order.
We have a point of order brought up by a member of this live stream.
Did you see, by the way, there is now Ireland joins the case against Israel, and what they have demanded is that the ICJ expand the definition of genocide in order to properly
make it apply.
accuse Israel of genocide. So
can we change the definition of genocide so that what Israel's doing actually applies? But if you expand the definition, then it's going to mean that everyone who's ever been in a war is guilty of genocide. Worth it, as long as we can say
here's the thing.
that Israel's actually guilty of genocide.
So far, Amnesty International wrote a report in which they did not abide by the proper known definition of genocide. They expanded the definition of genocide and then said that by their definition, which they further elaborated on, Israel seems to be engaging in a genocide, but not by the UN standard. Then Ireland jumped in, and Ireland appealed to the ICJ and said that that the current understanding of genocide, the current definition of genocide, is a very narrow interpretation. That's what they literally said, and that they demand or seek to expand or widen the definition of genocide, or broaden the definition of genocide in order to sufficiently and properly accuse Israel of genocide. So what they're telling you is, right now we have difficulty accusing Israel of genocide by the definition we have. So therefore we want to change the definition of genocide so that we can accuse Israel of genocide before a court.
Smart. Do what you got to do. What are they going to do? They're going to change international definitions of what these crimes are just to make them fit. Just to make them fit so you can blast away at Israel. But we have a point of order from Michael James in the chat. Point of order, Ireland's opinions will not be taken into account.
Alhamdulillah.
I accept this point of order. I agree. Why would we care what a bunch of drunken Irish people think anyway? So keep your lucky charms to yourself and your pot of gold. We don't care what you think.
I witnessed the history.
Drunk.
What?
Oh. They were probably drunk. They probably don't know what they're doing. They're drunk.
Oh, by the way, this is an interesting point he was just making here. That he's saying, hey guys, eventually this battle and this war is going to be over. This is forever. I'm going to remind you of this later on. It's actually pretty cool, right? Like all you idiots who think you're on the right side, a few years from now, you're going to see things a little more clearly, and you're going to remember what freaking dopes you were. And I'm going to remind you of what freaking dopes you were. Back it up a little bit.
And the push of the Palestinian violent indoctrination, they are going to hit a dead end eventually. But here, let me be a witness to history and to you. Israel did everything within their ability to minimize the civilian casualty in Gaza. While Hamas did everything in their ability to maximize the civilian casualty.
That's true.
The speaker will be heard.
Hamas did everything within their ability to maximize the civilian casualty for political and financial gain, for global sympathy, and they succeeded of fooling so many people. But this is not going to change the reality on the ground, because Hamas does not care for the Arab children. Hamas does not care for the Jewish children. Arabs and Jews, yes, your insults can challenge or defy my truth. Arabs and Jews can get along.
Did you see what he just said? I'm speaking the truth here. And guess what? Did he say anything wrong? What did he just said that they're shouting insults at him for? He says, Israel tries to minimize civilian casualties, child casualties, and so on. Hamas tries to maximize them. Guys, keep in mind, Hamas could come out and fight on a battlefield. They do not. They go and hide in tunnels underneath in areas that are populated by civilians. So that the only way to get to them is to go through the civilian population. They're trying to maximize civilian casualties for attention around the world and to get sympathy and so on. How's that? Like even if you're on their side, I mean, don't they acknowledge this? Haven't they acknowledged that they do this? So why would you be shouting insults at him? They have acknowledged that. They say that's their plan. They admit that that's how they do things. All he did was said it, and they start insulting. And he says, "If you want to challenge my truth with your insults," that's funny. You're not refuting the true statements he made by shouting insults. All you're basically saying is you don't like hearing it. You don't like hearing the facts.
This is not even under dispute. It is Hamas themselves have admitted it again and again and again and again, that they are proud and happy, and that it is a necessary part of their strategy to shed the blood of their own civilization, of the children, the women, the elderly, and so on. It is their duty, and it is good for them This was said by Ismail Haniyeh, by Yahya Sinwar, by Fatih Hamad, and so on. It was said by multiple members of Hamas, prominent members, that it is good for them, it is better for them to shed the blood of their own civilian population. This is not disputed. If you think that this is not true, then you just don't know anything and you should be quiet, sit down and learn. That's it.
Insults think can challenge or defy my truth. Arabs and Jews can get along. I have faith in that. Arabs, we are an ethnic group. We were way before Islam came to the region. We were way before the Palestinians came to the region. And by the way, the Palestinian history started in 1964 with the keffiyeh and the Palestinian flag. This is their heritage. That's all they have. And
Did you hear? This is their heritage. 1964. You get a flag and you get a keffiyeh. That's your heritage. He's saying we were before Islam. We were before all this stuff.
It is true.
That's awesome, man. This is your heritage. What's your heritage? Old thing you wear, and and they gave you a flag, and they said, "Okay, here's your national identity." You went, "Okay, duh, let's fight and die for this." Wow.
we are not Palestinians. We are Arabs. This is our language. This is our culture. And we will continue way after the Palestinian thugs who came to hijack our society with their sick indoctrination and victim narrative. The victim narrative. This is not representing who we are. We are.
By the way, isn't this guy awesome? I mean, this is the last few seconds of his presentation, ladies and gentlemen. But I mean, my goodness, he's wow. He is. It's interesting because he's got a very thick accent, but he is an awesome, just naturally awesome communicator in what he focuses on and so on. Anyway, let me back it up here.
This is not representing who we are. We are resilient. We don't accept to be victims. Israel will be our strategic friend, and we will get along. Kurds, Jews, Arabs, Druze, and the rest of the region. And I hope...
One thing here. Point of order.
He had 10 seconds left, and you had to interrupt him. I'm going to have to play that entire part again.
Okay,
go ahead.
Finish it.
Finish him. I'll back up a few seconds.
Finish it.
We will get along. Kurds, Jews, Arabs, Druze, and the rest of the region. And I hope that the Palestinians will know their place in history, nothing but a false identity. This is who they are, and this is how they are going to end.
Order.
He's done.
It's fine that he finished with that. He finished on that offensive note. So I wanted to say one thing. He mentioned Kurds here, and you know what the difference between the Kurds and the Palestinians is? The Kurds are actual people. They are an actual people. And there is currently the thing going on. Turkey is bombing Kurds. Turkey is attacking Kurds.
Do you mean bombing?
Once again, bombing Kurds once again, as they have been doing for quite a long time. And you will see that all of these clowns, all of these pro-Palestine clowns who go online and who have been talking pro-Palestine over the last year, most of whom suddenly just crawled up and never even mentioned Palestine before, now are like, Palestine, most important thing in the world, man, yeah. These people, they don't care about the Kurds. They don't care at all about the Kurds. They don't care about Kurdish suffering. They don't care about Kurdish safety. They don't care about Kurdish independence, Kurdish autonomy. The thing is, when they say free Palestine, they are literally adopting an ideology that was introduced only in the last century, over the last century, where these Arabs adopted a false identity and started identifying with that. They stole the identity of Palestine and started identifying with that. Whereas the Kurdish people, for example, they have an actual culture, they have an actual ethnicity, an actual nation. Here's what makes them different. The Palestinians They don't have their own language. They don't have their own culture. They don't have their own heritage. They don't have their own history. They don't have their own specific wear or anything. It's all just a mix of things that different Arab people did. The Kurds have had their own language forever. They have had their own land, which is called Kurdistan, after them forever. They have their own clothing. They have their own headgear, headwear, and so on. They have their own dances and music and everything that goes very, very far back. Those people still don't have a country and still can't live in peace in any place without being attacked and bombarded by others. If you actually care about a native population having freedom and having safety, being free, you should be supporting the Kurds, not the fake Palestinians. But the clowns want to go for the Palestinians because why? Because it involves Jews.
And you've got the Kurds, and this is a comment here. Mugiwara says, the Druze and Yazidis want to be Israeli. Yet we've seen in recent days that Druze villages in Syria, so they know what's coming. They actually want Israel to annex the area. They want that to become part of Israel. The Druze, they're in Syria, right? You've got the Druze. They're a smaller group, but they have villages. They have villages in southern Syria, and they actually want Israel to take over the area so that they can be part of Israel. Why? Why would they think? Why would they think that a bunch of Salafi jihadis would not be good for them, and that they would be better under the genocidal, what else is it? The genocidal, ethnic cleansing, whatever you want to say about Israel.
Alhamdulillah.
Why is it that the people in the area, when they're given the decision, look, Israel or Islam in all its glory, they go, oh, we want to be with the Jews. Can we please be with the Jews? And what do you think the Yazidi want? Because keep in mind, guys, you have ISIS types right now. You have ISIS types and ISIS members and so on who are taking over Syria right now. What do you think Yazidis who are looking at the entire situation want? Think they want to be part of that?
The Yazidis actually underwent genocide quite recently. Yep. It is considered still an ongoing genocide, by the way. There are some parts of it that are considered more intense. During ISIS rule, for example, there was significant massacres of the Yazidis. They are still constantly under threat. They are still threatened by the Islamist groups and so on. So to them, it's an existential issue. They are directly in danger by these Islamists. They are considered wicked. They are considered filthy disbelievers who are pagans and who need to be killed and so on, who can be enslaved. This is what ISIS did, and this is what other Islamists also did to them. So their only hope is to be free in a independent Kurdish territory, because the Kurds protect them because they're Kurdish, or they would want to be part of Israel, for example, because there they wouldn't face threats any longer. They wouldn't be genocided any longer. Under Israel, no population would face religious persecution and genocide for their beliefs and their ethnic differences. Under the Islamists, everyone is under threat, even the Islamists themselves.
And how many protesters, how many college protests you have about what's happening to the Yazidis, what's happening to all the groups that are just getting steamrolled by ISIS as it strengthens and retools and so on. What are they complaining about? What are people complaining about? They're complaining about the only local group that's actually gonna stop, that can stop them. They're the bad guys. So get Israel out of the way so that what? So that ISIS can take over. Great. Brilliant plans, college students. You're really, really smart. Wild.
The whole world should be Israel. I suggest greater Israel.
Grumpy Granny says, I'm 5 minutes behind you. I'm sorry if this has been said. I think the Oxford Union may now need to be called a terrorist organization. Editing tricks will not stop the police knowing who was there. Yeah, and I'm assuming the police can go in and say, guys, give us the SD cards that were used to record that. We want to see what people actually said and who was jumping up and shouting things and who acknowledged that they would not stop the October 7th massacre if they could. We want to know this stuff. Because they're all going on a list. Even if we're not arresting them, they are going on a list of people we need to keep an eye on. The trolls are coming out of the woodwork to attack you, David. A new video by a guy called Sir Sick is out calling you a moron theist. Cringe. Yeah, they certainly are. By the way, check out my next video. It might be up tomorrow. Atheists are going to love it. It's going to be titled something like, "Will Atheism Destroy Science?" And I think my first line is, "Atheism is parasitic."
Atheists are not even relevant.
That's right. No one likes atheists anymore. And so now you have a bunch of atheists who were relevant 10 years ago, and they're trying to become relevant again, and it's just pathetic. This just in, Sheikh Uthman plans to fake 100 hate crimes in a single 24-hour period to build viewership of his channel. I sadly know what that is about. I saw it from Andrew Tate, or Tristan Tate, one of the Tate brothers, posting about it. Yeah, okay. We get that. We're not going to comment on it.
The funny thing is, after seeing it and tapping not interested for days, I finally decided to say something about it and actually compared that girl to Muhammad, who had sex with all his wives in one night.
Oh, yeah. No. Oh, gosh. No, I got to comment on it. 'Cause that's funny.
Then I thought maybe I should.
She has the sexual strength of...
But then I deleted it because I thought, you know what, I don't want to have that woman on my feed. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, so Christian Gadfly, we decided that we don't want to talk about that. And look what you've done. Green Peace of Mind says, apparently the clubbing is pretty wild in Lebanon. I'd like to think they're jamming out to AP's Yahya Sinwar is dead in the clubs. Up in the club.
They be clubbing in Lebanon. Lebanon still has a vibrant culture that is unlike the rest of the Arab world because they're not really originally Arab.
And I have to say, if you guys are in the Middle East and you have a good culture, you need to protect it. You need to protect it because there are people who want to destroy it. See that Chakti when you taking Ortho Christian Shahada.
Alhamdulillah.
What's a Chakti?
I think that's what this is.
Okay.
It's called a Chakti.
So the question is, when are you taking the Ortho Christian Shahada?
It's a good question.
AP support neo-Ashkenazi. You see.
Alhamdulillah, you see, that's what they do.
That's the proof. Middle East will become uninhabitable soon.
Alhamdulillah.
It's not looking very... It
already is.
Yeah, there's only certain places where you'd want to live. I just found out that my mom, who's a deeply religious Orthodox Christian, hates Jews and homosexuals. I hate it here. And this is from Bigot Sandwich. Not sure how seriously to take an account called Bigot Sandwich. Let's see. I thought it was my internet.
It is.
Oh, the audio interruptions earlier? Yeah, apparently it was regional, though. So it was your internet. Technically, it was just your internet over a big area. I agree with your guys' take on Alex that I mentioned. I just find it food for thought. Much love and God bless. And yes, refreshing. The app worked. Yeah, as far as, again, on Alex, it's... If someone says, you know what, these are dangerous times and I have to take a stand against Islam, even if it costs me my life, totally respect that position. If someone says, you know what, I'm just in a dangerous place, so I'm going to let other people talk about this, totally fine, totally fine. There are good outcomes for both those situations, right? Standing against Islam, facing the threats, facing the danger, in spite of, you know, the fact that you may be killed or something like that. That is noble. That is praiseworthy. Protecting your own life and those close to you, that's also a good thing to do. So this is just what position that Islam puts people in. Mosh Cohen says, oh, this is when I said I was 2.7% chosen. Mosh says, 50% chosen, 100% based. This gives you 15% more.
Alhamdulillah.
And the Oxford Union is proud of that. Yeah, they sure are. But they're not, because they covered it up, so they're not terribly proud of it. They support attacks against Israeli civilians, but they're not proud. They're proud enough to say it, but they're not proud enough to put it in a video, because that would I mean, the cat's kind of out of the bag what it's become, but they probably don't want as many people to know about it. Commented on their video, I pray for you, AP, to accept Christ, but love you either way. $5 more for a new PC, gave 5, and message on the last live. Patriotic Z, this is my channel, and none of this is going to AP. Although, if he puts up his GoFundMe, we can all contribute. Mosab is pathetic too. Order. Ah, what?
Wait, John Netanyahu. That's an interesting username.
Powerful. If I had to choose between 2 million pathetic Palestinians and the cow, I would choose the cow. Mosab was being more diplomatic.
To be fair, what exactly does he mean when he says I choose the cow? Does it mean that for slaughtering and eating? In that case, what's the problem with him saying I will choose the cow?
Yeah, I'd rather eat cow than 1.8 billion people.
Exactly. I would rather eat a cow than 1.8
And what would you
Muslims.
Yeah, what would you rather him eat? Do you want him to eat 1.8 billion people? Because then you're messed up.
Yeah.
No, eat a cow. I think a stronger argument would be there are no natives. Nations have a right to their respective land and protect themselves from external threats.
Here is the thing. I have deliberately never ever gone to the whole thing, the whole argument of Jews being native to the land and being therefore it belonging to them and so on. I don't think that argument eventually lands. I think it's an endless discussion that leads nowhere. You can't convince the other side of that. There is one thing, however, which is you don't need that at all. Just go to the history. Just go to the history of this conflict. Go to the beginning of this century, of the last century. The Jews that were there, together with the Jews that came back to the land. Of course, you might have a dispute with the idea, with the wording "back to." The Jews who came to the land. They established themselves there. They bought land. They purchased land. Until 1947 and 1948, there was never, ever any kind of land grabbing or forcible taking of homes or anything like that. The only place where multiple instances of land taking and expelling from homes took place was in the Civil War that started at the end of 1947, continued in 1948, and was done in 1949. That was the creation of the modern state of Israel. Only during that process did the Israelis, the Jews, ever grab land which they didn't buy before or didn't own before, or expel certain populations from their places. Most of those people who left on their own because they didn't want to stay in the middle of a war zone, in a war which their own side started in order to exterminate the Zionists. When they started a war and they fought the Jews who just reestablished their state, the Jews rightfully, and I will proudly and happily say it again and again and again, rightfully fought them, defeated them, and said, okay, now we need some order, and we will strategically empty certain places and push you beyond the border because we can't have any of you guys living there anymore. This was not what mostly happened in this new land of Israel. It is what happened as a result of Arab attacks on a smaller scale. Before that, until 1948, Jews vastly and mostly bought the land rightfully and legally from the owners, where they then established their own villages, their own populations, their own communities, their own neighborhoods, and so on. The other part of land that they had was given to them by the British Mandate, which had control over the land. That land was not owned by the Arabs. People have this weird understanding nowadays, this weird illusion nowadays, that there were these borders, mandatory Palestine, and because there were Arabs living in that region, that means all of the lands within those borders somehow belong to the Arabs. They don't. They never did. The Arabs never had control over those lands. Most of the land in the region did not belong to anybody. It was not privately owned. It was public land, or it belonged to the state. The British took the state, gave some of it to the Arabs, some of it to the Jews. So at the end of 1947, in 1948, the land that the Jews had was almost exclusively either bought by the Jews or given to them by the British Mandate. Nobody, no matter where they are from, nobody has the right to dispute that land and to say, this belongs to me, it's my land. No, it's not your land. It's not your land. Never has been. It's not your land. And the Arab side since then has never been able to accept this, this legitimate Jewish claim and ownership of the land. And the only reason that there is still a conflict going on today is that the Arab side doesn't want to accept the natural trajectory of things, and because they don't want Israel to exist. They want their own Palestinian ethno-state to exist instead. Very, very ironic. They want ethnic cleansing. They want genocide, and they are wrong. I don't care about who is native and who isn't native. The Jews have proven over and over again that they deserve the land, and also that they are much better in managing the land, and that they are the peaceful ones who actually build the land. The other side destroys, whereas the Jews build.
Yeah, Radical Cleric, as far as you saying there are no natives, there are natives, but you're right. I don't. That's not. You don't decide things based on that. You have people who can trace their families way, way back. You have Jewish people who can trace their families way, way, way back there. The idea that you would say, oh, this person over here can trace his family way, way back, therefore we need to wipe out this land and give it to him. No one believes that anywhere in the world. No one believes that. That's the only place they try to come up with this rule. And in this case, it's massively fake, because identifying the Palestinians as a group that's been there and control the land, AP deals with it, has to deal with this all the time. People saying, oh, look, the Palestine, look, here's a coin and it says Palestine on it. You see, this proves that there was the Palestinians and they had a land that was called Palestine. And it's all insane and idiotic. So yes, I've never thought of this in terms of, but who's the natives? Who's the natives? If you want to make rules based on that, you've got a lot of changes to make in the entire world. Why are you focusing on this? It's more along the lines of, okay, we've got a bunch of Jews there and a bunch of people who want to wipe them out. What do we do? What do we do? The British said we need to divide up the land and make sure that there's a place where Jews can defend themselves against people who want to kill them. Guess what? That is a correct move. So I'm only thinking of this in terms of human rights and what do you do when you have a group that other people want to completely wipe out. Well, what you cannot do under any circumstances is say, hey, let's put the group that people want to exterminate under the control of the people who want to exterminate them. Wouldn't that be like the absolute dumbest thing anyone could ever possibly do? There's a bunch of Jews here, and there's a bunch of people around them who want to wipe them out. And what are college protesters saying? Yes, give all the people that other people want to exterminate, put them under the control of the people who want to exterminate them. Yeah, see, we want to fix things. Okay, you're evil scumbags for saying that. That's my view.
That's also called the final solution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry. The Jews have been under the power of people who wanted to wipe them out before. They don't want to do that again. They don't want to do that again.
Didn't go well last time.
Interview this Oxford Union fat guy and have him try to make AP not insult anyone. Let's see who lasts longer. That would be good. We'll have him just yelling, order, order, order. AP will not say this. AP will be like, you don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me what to do. I tell you what to do. Yawn, they call this debate. Yeah, it is pretty pathetic.
I would probably be very nice if I went there.
Yeah, calling this a debate, what sucks is it's a good idea. You just have a screwed up organization now. You have a diseased organization. You have a corrupt, broken organization because you let Islam take over that organization. Other than that, it would be a good idea. Okay, we've got some people who are shouting free, free Palestine. We've got people saying, be careful, you don't know what you're talking about. Let's get together and have a debate.
Free Amalek, free.
And then they have to, and then police have to get involved, and stuff has to be covered up and so on because it's been corrupted. Oh my goodness, these bunch of entitled elitists, looks like most of them live on land that is not theirs. They are offended by what he said, but not offended seeing what Palestinians did on October 7th. Yeah, they acknowledge that they support it and would not change a thing about it. Point of order. Can I be excused to use the brown stone, sir? Yes. Got to use the brown stone. I've got to go use the brown stone. Point of order. Point of odor. It stinks. Point of odor. There are terrorist supporters, but the Oxford Union would edit them out, for it is the last bastion of free supporters of genocide.
You see?
It's the last bastion.
The last bastion of Holocaust.
Someone else pointed this out as well. Children. Children Hamas use as shields. Like, is it intentional calling them children? Children. Because they're shields. Point of order. Pooh, think about the children. Oh, point of order. P-O-O. That is correct.
Free the children.
Mosab really is just a chill guy who cares for the children. That is correct.
That is true.
Your reaction to Pope and baby Jesus in Kafir. We already responded to that multiple times so far. We think it's dumb and pathetic, and Catholics should be embarrassed for their Pope. And that does seem, I've seen a lot of Catholics who are embarrassed by that display.
I didn't say that. That's you said that.
You said that.
I shall not disrespect.
You said the only thing keeping you from converting to Christianity is that the Pope sat in front of this display at the Vatican.
I didn't say anything negative about the Pope.
Glad to have some video to go with the previous garbled audio feed. It is good to be able to catch another live stream as well. That's what we do.
That's what they do.
That's what we do.
That's what they do, man.
Boom says, thank you, guys. You're welcome. Bless says, I think he calls them children because it's a combo of shield and children. They use the kids as shields. Yeah, I don't. It's actually possible. Like, I think it's just his accent, but it's actually possible that someone has pointed out, it sounds like you're calling them children, and because they use them as human shields, and that may be why he went back to it. Robert Downey Sr. says, what genocide when you lose a war that you started? Yes, if you start a war, attack someone, and then they come and kick the crap out of you, it's a genocide.
I have a theory about the whole thing.
What? About what?
The fact that he says children, I think it might be because it's a combination of shield and children.
Oh, yeah?
But this is just something that I thought of.
Oh, I haven't heard of that before. Powerful point, AP. Powerful, powerful point.
Thank you.
But yes, Robert Downey Sr., when you start losing a war, then start screaming that you're a victim of genocide and ethnic cleansing.
Powerful.
Point of order. Can we expand the definition of bestiality to genocide? Irish sheeps and Middle Eastern goats would agree.
Powerful.
I love his eyebrows. Who are you talking about, me or AP?
Probably me.
Yeah, we know you're talking about Mosab. You don't have to clarify. Now that AP is getting ripped, I must ask, what is your favorite workout music? Only the most important questions here.
The anthem of the Soviet Union.
That is We'll make you strong. With current events, do you think Turkey will go to war relatively soon over territories or alliances? I do think Turkey's going to... I think some stuff's about to go down with Turkey in the near future, AP. What are your thoughts on this?
I think Turkey deserves to be pounded and deserves to be carved up and divided. And actually, I think there should be no nation named Turkey. It should be divided into different different countries. And in fact, I think it is long overdue that Constantinople becomes part of Greece again, and that the Hagia Sophia is once again turned into a church, so that the Orthodox Church can establish, a proper place where they have their center, the patriarchate, and I would say that definitely Constantinople needs to be conquered, and the rest needs to be divided up into Armenia, Kurdistan, and so on, inshallah.
Yeah, we've got some problems with Turkey, ladies and gentlemen. Turkey is behind the scenes in a lot of messed up stuff that's going on and pulling the strings. And you've got AP's hero, Erdogan, who dreams of restoring the Ottoman Caliphate and so on. But there's a monkey wrench in the whole system in that Turkey is a member of NATO. We're allowed to join NATO because the other countries were really concerned about keeping a nice barrier between the Soviet Union and these other nations. And so, yes, let's get Turkey on our side. And now Turkey is taking full advantage of its place in NATO to be the last bastion of insane, megalomaniacal efforts to restore their caliphate. Watch what happens.
Powerful.
It's going to be messed up. If or will Trump helps bring down the Iranian regime, regardless, pray for the infidels of Syria. There may be sanctions or something like that. If anyone takes down... The people who take down Iran should be the people of Iran themselves. They should overthrow their government. As far as any help that Israel or other nations can give them, as far as weakening those awful leaders, that would be good. I've said it before, you do not want a Western nation or Israel actually taking over the nation and imposing a government. That government will be under investigation forever. People will not trust it. It will be a Western. If the people rise up and take over their own nation, then even if they had some help along the way, the people will like that. But the people...
If I ran a country, I would call it Iran, not Iran. No.
That would be better. If you go back to the guy who said he was personally attacked and see all the people who cheer afterwards, notice that the only ones who don't are also the ones who said they would report Hamas. Yeah, the only people who aren't cheering for the guy are the couple of people who were sitting with Mosab because they're on his side, and some of them were speakers as well. But yeah, those are the only people not cheering. When did you mean Mosab publish his book? He's published multiple books.
One book is upcoming right now. It's actually about Muhammad. It's kind of funny. It's called The Last Prophet or The Final Prophet.
Oh, that's you.
Yeah, that's me.
Wrote a book about you.
Yeah, he published several books.
Yeah, so the one he was most known for was Son of Hamas, and that was back in, 2008, something like that? It was a while back.
Yeah, he is quite a son of Hamas.
Supporters of the genocidal cause of Palestinianism cannot make their case without resorting to dishonesty and insane double standards on Israel and Jews. Yes, that is correct.
Powerful.
You always need double standards. And guys, if you cannot condemn a group or a nation or something like that without being a complete hypocrite and engaging in insane double standards, you probably need to rethink your criticisms.
If I have to choose between condemning 1.8 billion Muslims and the cow.
RFK's book, The Real Anthony Fauci, is great evidence for atheism leading to a decline of science. Huh.
I'm going to say something very unpopular here, but I wouldn't trust RFK Jr., honestly.
Well, if he's acknowledging that atheism leads to the decline of science, then everything
I
he
can
says
trust.
is automatically.
I guess
correct.
I guess I can agree there. But that's
AP, did you see that the IDF's YouTube channel posted their top Spotify songs and yours were the top 2 spots? What's so funny? Why are you laughing?
Did you see the post that they made?
No. What's so funny?
Some people were really angry about it.
What?
People were posting their Spotify top songs of the year, and the IDF also made a post saying our Spotify Wrapped, and it was just Hassan Nasrallah dead, Yahya Sinwar dead. And so it was really based.
That's pretty funny.
Alhamdulillah, I have to send that to you.
AP, when are you going to post the interview? Love you both. He already said that.
Tomorrow.
He said tomorrow, but he has said in defense of the truth, he has said tomorrow repeatedly. He's starting to sound like that. Tomorrow, I'll post it tomorrow. It's always a day away.
Maybe I should set up a GoFundMe to get a new computer. I don't know.
That's a good idea. And you
Hey,
should
did you notice that my camera has been quite okay tonight, this live stream?
It was literally on the fritz before I went live. So,
Look,
yeah.
By now.
Yeah, the fact that you think if your computer actually hangs on for a couple of hours without going black, the fact that you think that's good shows you need better stuff. Oh my goodness, it just made it 2 hours without self-destructing. It's so great. That sounds like something a Turkish guy would think. Oh, it went 2 hours and it works. I have the greatest system in the world. Elon says, please show more of Natasha. She debates the legal case for occupation. The Palestinians didn't declare state in 48, which automatically makes the Israel.
This sounds pretty perverted.
Show more Natasha.
She debates the legal case for occupation. The Palestinians didn't declare. Yeah.
Was she one of the speakers, or is this someone else?
Yeah, she's Natasha Hoster. I think she's a lawyer and was also a speaker at the Oxford Union debate. I haven't listened to any of her speeches, although people keep recommending. Maybe I should check it out.
That's what I'm saying. If they ever have something like that again, we should just go through them one at a time, one day at a time. Mathematical miracle. There was 1.8 billion Sunnis. Muhammad had 1.8-inch wing wang. You see, this is the proof. No, there's not 1.8 billion Sunnis. There's 1.8 billion Muslims, or 2 billion, depending on your source. But that is an amazing mathematical miracle. That Muhammad had a 1.8-inch PP. Now he has 1.8 billion followers. That water bottle undecided guy. The guy was kind of, I don't know. Schrodinger's terrorist. He exists and doesn't exist simultaneously. That's actually funny. He's kind of in between on whether he supports it or not. I will pray 100 rosaries in 24 hours for y'all. That's good. Did you hear about Turkey's cover-up of Göbekli Tepe? They planted olive trees on it and made it illegal to cut olive trees. You familiar with this, AP? You have any idea what that's about?
I know that it's an archaeological site, and there are some news on that. I don't know. I haven't looked into this very much. I can't say nothing about it.
And I have no familiarity with that.
I can't not say nothing about that.
Sheikh Mike Wingelinge says, I agree with Alex. Islam should not be criticized. Sounds like Mike Wingelinge. Miko Peled, famous author, The General's Son. His prior shtick was compassion. Now leftist morality, Jew, unapologetic about annihilation of Jews. That's kind of an ongoing issue that you have. Here's the thing: you've got the gropers recently, right? And you have a bunch of people who do nothing right now except whine about Jews all day and Israel and crazy conspiracy theories. Guess what, guys? They were already there 5 years ago, but they were just kind of, you couldn't say what you really wanted because you'd get banned and so on. Once a war breaks out, and this is part of the reason for Hamas to start these kinds of wars, is then you get the retaliation, and now you can say, oh, see, we're just about the children. We're just about the children. We care about the children. We care about the civilians. We just saw it in the interview. Do they actually care about civilians? No. Do they care even slightly? No. Do they actually care about Palestinian children? No. They're the ones encouraging them to keep fighting and killing and getting killed in return. Right?
They love the children.
Yeah. So it's basically you always have a bunch of people out there who hate Jews and want them annihilated and want Israel wiped off the map. It just becomes easier for them to speak at different times. And so if you have someone like Miko Pellet, yes, if you catch him a couple years ago, I'm sure it was, hey, we just need to be compassionate. But once you are allowed to say what you really think, you start getting, yes, the Hamas who killed men, women, and children, they're heroes. They're heroes.
You see?
You see?
You see?
Shimon Perez Goat Ape's favorite beats are at the start of this YouTube. Persona non grata by Oliver Stone.
Beast.
Do you agree with that, AP?
Yeah.
Okay. AP says he agrees. My genes are 94% British. Give it back, Islam. Yeah. That's the other edge of the hypocrisy. I mean, one, you have it like what's going on right now. Yes, we're going to take over Britain. We're going to keep multiplying. We're going to take over Britain. We're going to... Wait a minute. Aren't you the guys who say that would be completely evil for someone else to do, even though it's not what they did?
Decolonize.
Yeah, and the other side is historical one, namely that Islam expanded throughout the Middle East, across northern Africa, tried to take over Europe, expanded eastward all the way out to through Iran, Pakistan, India, and so on. And somehow it's completely great for them to try to conquer the world. But if you say, hey, I want to hang on to this little piece of land I have right here because we do not trust you guys. We know you want to slaughter us. You're pure evil. That's the rule.
What is this, man? I was just looking at my YouTube feed and I see a live stream scheduled for, what is this, Monday? I guess, where you are going to join Cameron to talk trash about Cliff Nechtle.
I literally said earlier during this live stream, when you were paying attention to something else,
why are you attacking Christians?
That on Monday I would be live with Cameron, and we're going through Alex's debate with Cliff Connectly.
Why are you attacking Christians, man? What is this?
We're not attacking. I'm not attacking. I don't know what they're arguing. And based on the little bit I know, I've only seen one video by Cliff Connectly, which I made a video about recently because it was from a Muslim. Apparently, he's big on TikTok. Also, he's been around for a while because as soon as I mentioned him, I started getting messages from people like, "Oh yeah, I remember him from back in like the 1970s and stuff like that." So apparently, he's been doing this for a long time. Here's the thing. Based on the little bit that I know, I would guess that Alex is a superior debater if it's just a debate.
Whoa.
I would guess that Cliff would be massively better if he's having an argument with college students on a college campus, because in other words, one is probably better at what he does and the other is probably better at what he does. And this is going to be sort of it's on modern day debates. So it's a sit down debate. I would guess Alex is going to be better at that, but we'll see. Maybe my mind will be blown. What are you saying? What are you crying about?
I don't know, man.
Set that GoFundMe, AP, or David will keep getting the shekels. Sorry, I was late. Got a point. People are going to keep sending me shekels saying it's for your computer, but then you're never getting that. You're never getting a penny. Logos Defender said, AP, drink more water instead of other stuff. I had low energy and focusing on drinking more water helped me a lot. God bless you.
I drink water all the time. It's called vitamin water.
Yeah. See? I drink water all the time too. It just has lots of coffee in it. It has lots of coffee in it.
I used to drink Coke all the time. I quit. I'm not drinking any Coke anymore.
Yeah, you're
so-
supposed to snort it, not drink it. It doesn't even make any sense.
Exactly. So I switched to snorting.
Good Beckley. That's funny. I'm giving it the Gerb, the German umlaut sound.
It's the same thing. Göbekli.
Oh, Turks do the same thing?
Yeah.
That's how you survived.
That's what they do.
Göbekli Tepe is a megalithic site in Anatolia, which has been considered possibly the most ancient religious complexes ever constructed.
That's true.
What are you guys doing to that in Turkey?
Early signs of religious stuff.
Huh.
But I don't know what's happening there.
Wild stuff. All right, AP, so you are officially releasing, we're going to go ahead and end this, everyone. As far as tomorrow, I'm planning on posting a video, probably to be released around noon, although it's always possible that will not happen because stuff always happens. AP is planning to release his massive interview with Mosab Hassan Yousef tomorrow, although you can never trust a German Turk. And apart from that, we should be going live tomorrow. And you know what we're talking about tomorrow, AP?
There is one thing that is apparently on Visegrad, which I am considering having a look at, which is what's that? A Muslim IDF soldier explains why something. Thinking of having a look at that. Muslim IDF soldier answers your questions. So the Visegrad had an interview with a Muslim IDF soldier, and I kind of want to highlight that and have a look at that. But yeah, maybe that, maybe something else. Maybe we might just want to talk about Muhammad having intercourse with 9 or 11 of his wives in one night,
And how he's a little weakling compared to...
and he's been humiliated. But yeah, these are some of the things that I want to...
Hey, that chick even beat Solomon in the Muslim sources.
What chick?
In the Hadith, the chick who... what was it? It wasn't 1,000, was it?
What chick, man? I'm not talking about any chick. What are you talking about?
I'm saying if you're going to talk about Muhammad, banging all his wives in one night, then there's this chick. I don't know what it is, 100, 1,000, whatever, that she banged. But in Sahih Muslim, Muhammad said that Solomon had sex with 90 wives in one day, and that he said he's going to impregnate all of them to create a new generation of powerful jihadis, but he forgot to say inshallah. So it didn't happen. But the point is, so Muhammad has this sexual strength of 30 men because he had sex with nine wives in one night. But Solomon was 10 times stronger. He had sex with 90. And so he would have the sexual strength of 300 men. By having sex with 90 women. But if this chick had sex with 100 dudes or 1,000 or whatever it was, then she's stronger than both of them.
Powerful.
What is that?
What?
How did you share that?
Did it just go up on the screen? Just
it went on my screen. How are you sharing stuff on my screen?
That's funny.
That's not funny at all. That's horrifying.
It is ridiculous. Let
me see if I can X this out. Let me see. Oh, there we go. Ha! Learning all the time.
I wanted to share the IDF Spotify thing, man.
Oh yeah, share it if you want to share it.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. But can you make it
full screen?
Yeah. So this is what the IDF posted. People were posting these posts of their Spotify top 5 songs, and the Israeli Defense Forces thought we should share our year Wrapped. It's called Spotify Wrapped. And then this is what they post. Number 1 song, Dead Hassan Nasrallah, Dead Hezbollah terrorists. Dead Part 2, Yahya Sinwar, Dead Hamas terrorists. Dismantled Hezbollah's infrastructure, neutralized threats. 365, Israel Defense Forces protecting our civilians. 19,000 plus terrorists eliminated. Bye.
It's funny that they're pretty funny, isn't it? That is funny.
They actually posted a meme about it.
That is funny. Final couple right here. AP, hey AP, how do you feel about Turkish coffee? I had it once. I liked it. Similar to
It's good.
Greek coffee. That's where they've basically got like mud at the bottom, right? It's basically like coffee mud at the bottom, but it's like super strong.
Turkish coffee is basically coffee which they stole from Greeks, so it's good. Actually, there is more argument for the fact that it was first Turkish coffee and then Greek coffee. Sorry to say.
Well, Turkish when they were controlled by Greeks.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I like it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, I like it too. Oh, dang it! That should be a yeah. Sometimes I get the coffee from concentrate. And then I just drink the concentrate instead of adding a gallon of water to it. But anyway, got to do what you got to do. Dang it. That should be a megalithic site. Editing issues. The horror, anyway, though, seems to have been built by hunter-gatherers. Interesting. Would you get Irfan Petchy on? Could be interesting.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
You heard it here, folks. AP said we will.
I told you about him. I also had an interview with him. I recorded it, which I will also publish soon. He is the guy from Germany who
Deutschland.
He was a terrorist himself, and then he went to prison and was in prison in isolation cell for 1 whole year, and then he was released. And
1 year.
And then he was recruited upon release. He was a terrorist. He was part of an Islamic terrorist cell that was sending people over to Islamic war zones, and he himself was in the process of going and joining one of those terrorist groups. However, he was somehow the German intelligence. They got a hold of communications between him and some other guy whom they set up, who was supposed to set him up. So they caught him, locked him up, and he was then in prison in an isolation cell for 1 whole year. And in that prison cell, he actually started doubting and leaving Islam. So he left Islam.
Smart.
And toward the end of that year or so, there were the people who came checking on him every now and then from the state were asking him about what his plans are, and he told them that he is no longer interested in Islam stuff, that he left Islam, that he doesn't want to join Islamism anymore, and so on. So they sent a team to see if he is genuine, to analyze his mental state and his motives and so on, and they concluded that he's serious. When he got out of prison after 1 year, they called him in, asked, "So what are you going to do with your life now?" He said, "I just want to move on, want to get a job," and so on. But they then said to him, "How about you don't get a job? How about you don't get a job? How about you don't move on? How about we send you to Berlin and we make up a story for you, and you join a group of other Islamic terrorists and work for us?" And he was like, "Oh no, I don't want to do this. I just want to be done with this." And they were like, "Come on, do this for the country.
Do it."
So he accepted it, and he did indeed work for them, and helped prevent people from going to war zones, helped prevent terrorist attacks, and so on. Pretty good guy. Also a Christian, but
so Christian, smart. Now I like him. At first I was like, who cares? Who cares if someone just leaves Islam and becomes an atheist or agnostic or something? Who cares? But now he's a Christian. Hey, so since he is actually working against jihadis and so on, what, according to the Oxford Union, what would he be? Charmute?
Prostitute. Yeah, prostitute.
Okay. Interesting.
You are a prostitute.
According to the Oxford Union, the last bastion of free speech in the world.
Prostitute.
All right, guys.
It is kind of
Oh, good.
It is kind of based to work as a spy, like that, and to work
That is.
undercover among terrorists.
I still have no idea how like the CIA doesn't approach me and be like, hey, we know about your mental health problems and stuff like this. We'd like to send you to such and such country for a debate, but you're actually going to assassinate this powerful terrorist leader. I'd be like, bet.
That would be funny.
That would be awesome and funny. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, AP. As far as tomorrow, that would be good to hit that Visegrad video. That could actually be paired with the Druze wanting to be annexed and be part of Israel, because it's basically a similar idea. All right, everyone. We've got multiple things coming out tomorrow, in theory, and a live stream tomorrow night. Keep your eyes peeled. AP's going to have his video set to premiere, so make sure you follow that and everyone watch it when it premieres. Will be super dope, unless it's just bad.
That's fine. But group said, AP, you're literally a Mossad agent. I wish I was a Mossad agent, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And as far as Mossad, AP is the only person I've ever seen make Mosab laugh. So that must have been an interesting interview. Only time I've ever seen Mosab laugh.
I didn't. All I had to say was stay away from Islam. And
and then he cracked up laughing. No, that's like weird sense of humor, right? Like you find out, hey, oh, okay, I figured out how to make this guy laugh. Fun stuff. All right. Catch y'all tomorrow.
Inshallah.